Hundreds of applicants for a storeman job. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my stein of coffee. I thought we'd have a look at this abc.com.au article, well, just discussing in a little bit more detail the unemployment rate. Now earlier today we looked at the increase in unemployment. It's sitting at 7.4%. The underutilization rate, which according to Roy Morgan is at 24.5%, has also gone up. I tend to prefer the Morgan data because it's a little bit more pessimistic and I think something somewhat more realistic. So, unemployment passes a 2-decade high as job applicants inundate employers. And I've had people tell me this in the comments. One viewer said he spoke to his neighbor who's currently recruiting and it's been the best time ever to get candidates. There's another YouTuber I watch. He did a video about his experience going for an IT job interview here in Australia. And I'll link to it in a card above if I remember. And what was interesting, or what was shocking, was just the experience he went through. 50 people sitting there in a lobby, and they treated you like a dog. So, I mean, that's recruitment firms. I don't think I could handle it, and I think I'd have the same response he did. So, let us know in the comments, guys, what it's like out there. What is it like out there? The official numbers from the Bureau of Statistics show unemployment passed the 2-decade high, reaching 7.4% in June. The true picture is much worse, with the Treasurer admitting earlier this week the unemployment rate would be above 13% without government support like JobKeeper. That is why the official figure is set to keep getting worse, even as the reopening of the economy adds back jobs, as it did last month when employers hired an additional 210,000 people. The reason that unemployment rose despite so many jobs being created or reinstated was that even more people ventured back out to look for work. That's it. People stopped participating in the workforce and they jumped back in. The easing of the pandemic restrictions in June saw an extra 280,000 people in the labour force, with more people in employment and more actively looking and available for work, said Bjorn Jarvis from the ABS. You can see here. I mean, there you go. We're going to hit the levels of the recession Australia had to have. I'll have a shot while we look at that coffee. I'll look at that chart, everyone. Yeah, wow. So one storeroom job, 200 applicants. And this is a similar tale. Like, I've had viewers who've told me that they've applied for like a retail job in a petrol station. 2,000 people went for it. 2,000 people went for it. Adam Gotchi can testify that there's no shortage of people looking for work. His roll cage manufacturing business in southwest Sydney was recently looking for a new storeman to replace someone who'd quit. There you go. Mr. Gotchi said he was inundated when he put an ad up with applicants from people with a wide range of employment backgrounds. We approached nearly 248 hours, and I had to turn it off after that, he told ABC's The Business Program. I mean, this is the thing. If you get that many people applying for a small business, it can be a nightmare. It can be a nightmare. I remember when I was looking for entry-level staff, you get 20, 30 people, even that. Just managing that process takes time. Because people, if they put the time and effort in to put their resume in, you want to at least respond. To put it in context, we'd normally see 30 to 50 applicants. So there you go. It's gone 4x in 2 days. We're in a niche industry, which requires a certain skill set. But in this instance, we saw hospitality staff, coffee shop workers, barmen, people from the airline industry for the first time, baggage handlers, air flight crew. We'd never seen that in the past. So what this is saying is people are getting desperate. People are getting desperate. They're doing what they can to try and find work. We've never seen so many white-collar workers going for that position. Which would probably be quite an enjoyable job, fabricating stuff. People taking what jobs they can find. In the current economic climate, a large number of people are taking jobs well outside their area of expertise and experience. Ashley Telford was working in marketing and public relations, but she quit her job in the northwest WA town of Port Hedland in January, moving back to Perth to be closer to her parents. She'd have to be working with one of the big mining companies. Her timing could not have been much worse, with the pandemic striking and no jobs available in her chosen field. Well, this is why you don't move until you have another job set up. Someone explain, please. Is this just a sign that you've got a generation that don't know what's going on, what a recession is, what the risks are? I mean, please explain to me. Doing job searches in my profession dried up basically overnight. It was quite staggering. I went from me going, do I really want to do that job, to there is nothing in my industry at all with a matter of weeks around March. That there is it just shows you, doesn't it? It's kind of sad. This is the lesson that a generation who has never known, and she looks pretty young, who has never known anything but good economic times is going to learn. You can't be so picky, can you? You can't be so picky. The jobs just don't appear from everywhere. They don't appear from everywhere. And I mean, I was the same when I was young. You know, when I was doing my architecture degree, there was competition for students to work. They wanted you. No one got paid the award. Everyone got paid above the award. Far above it, because there's supply and demand. There's a lot of work. You know? That didn't last forever. It didn't last forever. And you just have to learn. Rather than rely on job seeker, she got temporary work cleaning miners' living quarters in the Pilbara. I think there's a perception that you work in the mines, you're going to get big dollars, and that's just not the case. Well, it's certainly not the case in my instance, she said. Well, marketing is different to actually having a technical skill or working on machinery. I mean, you're not going underground in marketing very much. The company I worked for paid the minimum they could get away with. Staying in a small tin shed that had a single bed, a fridge, and a shower, basically all in one 3x2 meter space. So you got free accommodation? She's still looking for longer term work, but said the little that is out there comes with a big pay cut. Yeah, that's what we're seeing here is someone just coming to grips with reality. It's kind of sad in a way. It's kind of sad. I mean, we can laugh at her, but it's sad in a way. There's going to be a lot of people of this age, of this generation, get a taste of reality. Get a taste of reality. Maybe you shouldn't quit that job before you have something else lined up. You know. I'm looking at a third of my income being cut. Actually, that's optimistic really. Maybe 50% pay cut to go back into my profession, she said. She has investigated switching careers, but got knocked back because people were reluctant to take on apprentices who were in their mid-30s. Okay. So she isn't that young. She isn't that young if she's in her mid-30s. She's only a little bit younger than me. She's my wife's age. She's Rachel's age. Rachel's got 5 children by that point. Married, career. Yeah. Okay. I thought she was in her 20s. Makes this even worse. She should be old enough to remember. Even if she didn't experience the last recession, at least as a child, experience it. Am I wrong there, guys? Come on, those of you my age who weren't old enough to actually be working in the last recession, you have to remember it. It's probably just because my father was in the building. Oh, I remember it. I thought we were going to go homeless or something, which now I learn is completely not the case. But my father was quite angry at some of the, let's say, frivolous purchases my mother made. It's funny what burns in your memory as a child. She bought what was it? Just a wool jacket, a wool, fur coat from New Zealand. He was angry at her. I mean, it was nearly a week's, probably 2 weeks worth of normal income, so I don't blame him. So jobs still underwritten by the government, and that's the big problem. The jobs market remains underwritten by the federal government's assistance program, with Josh Frydenberg saying earlier this week that unemployment would more likely be 13.3% without JobKeeper and other measures. However, more of the people being kept in employment by JobKeeper are actually doing work, with a 4% jump on hours worked in June. Mr. Jarvis said that overall, about a quarter of the fall in employment between March and May had been regained in June. Despite the rise in hours worked, it seems many of those returning to work are part-timers. The ABS estimates that 249,000 part-time jobs were created last month, offsetting the loss of more than 38,000 full-time positions. Not surprisingly, given the industries that have borne the brunt of the lockdown, it was all part-time jobs that came back in June, largely for females and young Australians, EY's chief economist Joe Masters tweeted. So unemployment to rise before it will fall. Sarah Hunter for BIS Oxford Economics expects the unemployment rate to rise further before it starts falling. This is a result of the reintroduction of the requirement to look for work to be eligible for job seeker, though there are no financial penalties for not complying at this stage on the 9th of June, she explained. So they're going to get a whole lot of people that are going to get a taste of what it's like to look for work for the first time, of what it's like to be on unemployment and forced to look for work. I mean, just dealing with that bureaucracy would be enough to drive anyone into any bloody job and go, never again. Never again. Or maybe I just can't stand it that much. As this was partway through the survey period, and financial penalties for not looking for work will come into force in the next few weeks, we expect to see a further increase in the rate in July. The participation rate remains around 2 percentage points below its pre-pandemic levels, suggesting that there are still a large number of people who have lost their job and are not yet actively seeking work. Ms. Hunter also warned that the renewed lockdown in Melbourne would dent an already weak recovery in Victoria. The reimposition of lockdowns in Victoria is already likely to add to the number of people unemployed, with businesses forced to shut down and let go of their casual staff again. She observed, "It will also put a dent in the recovery of total employment and total hours worked across the state. Victoria saw one of the weakest recoveries in employment once population is taken into account, with just 29,000 jobs added compared to New South Wales' 80,000. So, there we go, guys. The case of professionals humbling themselves, looking for tradie work, which will probably be good. Good for people doing what they can. And some people learning that the market hasn't changed. Some people probably a little too close to my age to be learning that lesson now. What do you think, everyone? What do you think? How many people are going to be in the position of Ashley here? How many people are going to try and get jobs that are completely out of their skill set just to get employment? Or how many people are just jumping through the hoops to tick the boxes in job seeker and will learn a hard lesson? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can interact with the channel. Let the YouTube algorithm know that you're enjoying the content. You can support us financially via joining us on YouTube or Patreon, using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.